Hello. Falco, Mr. Rookie. Splat a lot. Howdy, howdy. Howdy, Astral. Cannot. You had an opportunity to eat some of those hot dogs, Falco. You were invited to that hot dog fest. I made way too many of them. Yet to see try. What are you talking about? Let's try. Yo. Harry, has Milax signed up yet? I think you guys did. I just can't remember off the top of my head. Saw them registered. Probably just tripping. Tigray. Pugoli. Welcome in. Thank you for the 9-month subscription. Hope you made it back home A-OK. Hope you're staying out of trouble. If I were to make music for Splatoon 3, that's a trap. It's a trap question. I saw people react to Bagel's tweet. I'm not answering that. No. I answer that and then some casuals are going to roast me on Twitter or something like that. Nice try. Not dignifying that question with an answer. I'm too smart for that. Anarchy Rainbow, there's going to be plenty of time for plenty of time to play Splatoon 3's music. Hopefully about 300 episodes of Splatoon 3 music on the Popcast. Rock, paper, scissors. I believe my team's going with rock. I'm going to try to play with some Reddit randos this time around. I mean, I'm going to play with my team some as we lab out some stuff. But a lot of good friends that I've met in this community, I've met through Splatfest on Reddit. That's how I found out about anything, was because I did one of those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Splatfest, and I just went on the Reddit and saw people were playing or asking for one more player or whatever, so I joined up with that. And then eventually found out what Discord is, and then found Sploot Troops, and now here I am. So I want to go find some randos on Reddit and play with them and try to meet some new people. They don't know I'm a big deal. If 96 gets Kraken, I'm not buying it. Kraken's not in the game, ain't it? Pretty sure it ain't. I'm just missing stuff. I'm gonna play Splatoon 1, Emil. Stop, Bach. Thank you for the subscription. There will be no Bofa in Splatoon 3, unfortunately. $37 months. Maybe I'll actually stream more. I do have some plans for that. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you're trying to convince your team's armor bot to become a juice main, hoping to unlock the Macarena dance as a victory pose, canceling your pre-order now that Tentamissiles have been confirmed. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Hey, I had a good week away. No, that was the first week since I started doing this over 2 years ago where I did not air an episode of the Popcast. That's something. And it felt pretty good. Not that I, didn't miss you idiots in chat, but it was, and not that there wasn't anything to talk about. There was a lot of stuff to talk about. And there could have been a little Engie pop gun last week with the whole plus server nonsense and the one of the players trying to come back from stuff. I tweeted out about those things, and that felt good to just get that out of my system by tweeting about it and not spending an hour talking about it. And instead we can talk about fun things today. But for those curious, my vacation week was spent hanging out with my Splatoon friends, some casual and semi-competitive Splatoon friends that I've made over the many years that I've been a part of the scene, which I guess is like 4 or 5, and we rented out a cabin in Ohio, and we just had fun doing that, and it was awesome. And the direct took place during that event, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Got to hang out, got to go to the state fair, and get a giant turkey leg. Played an SAC, had a good little vacation week. And now I'm rested, I'm restored, I'm ready to get back at it and talk to you idiots yet again. News of tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener of the podcast. It is Low Ink Week. Man, it's been a while, but it still feels like it's sneaking up on us. It is Low Ink Week. Make sure you sign up for Low Ink today. There is a lot of verification that needs to take place for this Low Ink. So the sooner you sign up, the more time that we have to look into everything. And if you don't give us enough time to look into you and your sus, we're just going to auto kick you because we're not planning on staying up all night Friday. So save yourself the trouble of potentially getting kicked just for whatever reason by signing up sooner rather than later. How about that? There is a lot of people who are questioning if they are eligible for this Low Ink. And my question to you is, I don't know. we started looking into some teams, some questionable teams today. And we'll start, dealing out, hey, you got the DM of death, you're gone later on this week. But, I mean, there's just a lot to look into. So many teams have popped off between the last Low Ink and this one in an SAC or Super Jump or whatever, SOS, a paddling pool. Like, a lot of you Low Ink regulars really flexed in the past month and a half or so. And that's great. That's awesome. And that should be what you're trying to do. That should be the goal of what you're trying to do. But we can't just have you come into Low Ink and just stomp everybody across the way. So there's a lot of verification needs to go into that. And don't assume that you are eligible to play until until the tournament actually starts. Let's just say that. There's a lot of work we got to do with that. The Low Ink preview episode 130 of the Popcast is going to be on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We're going over the top 10 teams that I have going into this weekend, the final Low Ink for Splatoon 2. And we'll also talk about what Low Ink is going to look like in Splatoon 3. JPEG already released like a little statement that we have of like how the transition is going to go. So I'll give more of my thoughts on some more in-depth stuff that I think is going to take place with the Splatoon game switch over. It's going to take place next Low Ink as we say goodbye to Splatoon 2 here. Today we are going to be recapping a Little Squid League tournament number 23, and good golly, Miss Molly, this one was great. I've loved talking about Little Squid League. I think I've talked about every single Little Squid League, starting with the 5th one, I want to say, maybe the 4th or 5th one. This one, I've never been this excited. as I'm about to be to talk about this one, because this one is a doozy. It is a instant classic of a tournament. And there's a lot to talk about with that, so we'll be happily getting to that a little bit later down the road on this episode of the Popcast. But first, as always, if you would like to leave a message in chat that you want me to actually acknowledge, leave a highlighted message, and at some point I'll go back and read it. And if it sucks as a message, I'm just going to ban you forever. So what was cool about my my vacation cabin trip from the past week is that the direct happened on the last day of our trip on Wednesday. So we knew the direct was happening in the middle of the trip. And as Wednesdays we were going to leave, which we had to be out by 11, we found out the direct was going to take place at 9 o'clock. So I got to have a little watch party, an IRL watch party with all of my Splatoon friends. And we streamed it in our group's Discord chat for the people that weren't there. We didn't get live shot for content or reactions or anything like that. Not that I'm against anything like that, but we just wanted to enjoy the thing together with our friends. But that was really cool. That's an experience. It's just pure chance that was to happen. But just be able to sit in a living room cabin and watch the Splatoon 3 direct with all of your other Splatoon buddies is a pretty cool thing. And yes, I did legit laugh out loud when I saw that missiles had come back into the game. I could, that is just the funniest thing that they would decide to bring that special. That is the worst possible special they could have brought back from Splatoon 2 into Splatoon 3. And by golly, they found a way to did it. I can't. My mindset is that they saw how often missiles are used nowadays, and the devs just probably thought, oh, they really like missiles. We need to bring it back. It's like, no, we're not using it because we like using missiles. We're doing it because it's the only way to win. So there you go. It's coming back. I'm hoping it gets some sort of nerf, some sort of thing that brings it back down to planet Earth. You shouldn't be able to just start building missiles again as the current missiles you just launched are still flying through the air. And it shouldn't count when the missiles land. It shouldn't count towards special buildup for your next set of missiles. That's just not how that should work. And I know you can't time it out because missiles sometimes last longer depending on how far away the distance is. So it's not always going to be an even thing to make it wait for the missiles to land before you start building up more. I get that. But there has to be something to where you can't just fire off 15 missiles a game. That's just not going to fly. You can't be doing that. So hopefully the missiles coming back are getting adjusted in some form or fashion. And I know people are tweeting out things like, oh, if you use missiles day one, you're a total loser. And it's yeah, but if we go through all the new weapons and come to the conclusions that, oh, missile spam just beats everything else again, it's going to just come back to that. Nobody's forcing any of you to use missiles today, and you all use missiles today because it helps you win. So if that's the case in Splatoon 3, hell yeah, it's going to be coming back in missile spam. That's a given. So let's, with missile nonsense aside, hi Carrot, I want to discuss my thoughts on the Direct as a whole in this safe little environment that I've constructed for myself. A safe environment free of the casuals, the normies, if you will, who will take every tweet that a competitive player puts out over the past week and just spiral it way out of control and just start adding in takes that don't even make any sense. If you are a competitive player who has a decent number of followers for the scene, or your tweet gets retweeted or commented on by somebody who has a lot of followers, it left the target audience and you just got a bunch of people commenting on your tweets that totally missed the point of the tweet. Bagel, probably the most infamous one, was tweeting out that they wish there was a feature to turn off the music in the game, which is a feature I would love to see in Splatoon 2. That is such a great feature to just, not that the music is bad, but to be able to just hear the little sounds of people approaching you from a distance or flank it around, to like use the audio cues that the game has built in is a huge advantage in competitive play. Every other esport has something like that. So being able to turn off the music would be a great feature, but for everybody who doesn't understand who Bagel is and just sees that tweet, instantly thinks, oh, this person thinks the Splatoon music is bad, which is crazy. This music's so great. So, my tweet, I tweeted out something like, what did I say? I said there were a lot of, this game just needed to be quality of life stuff to make it better than Splatoon 2. Which is true, but some people took that as like, oh, so you're saying the Tetris thing, the card Tetris thing makes it better than Splatoon 2? Give me a break. It's like, bruh, I did not say anything about that. That's not at all what I said. What are you talking about? So, look out. If a tweet from a competitive player ends up with 300 likes, I would suggest not reading the quote retweets or looking at the comments, because it gets a little sidetracked in many ways. So let's talk about this here with you guys, the sweaties, the people who play this game way too much that you want to listen to what a 32-year-old balding man has to say about this game. That's the kind of people I like talking to. Cheers to you. And no, with that context in mind of us all being competitive mindset, I'm not going to be talking about the single player stuff. Although I am interested in seeing it. I hope the single player stuff is more like Octo expansion than the traditional hero mode that we've seen. Although it does look kind of like hero mode from what I've seen, very little stuff. Not going to talk about Salmon Run. Not saying I'm not interested in Salmon Run, but that's not the context of the Popcast today. And Lord help me, I am not going to talk about any of the stuff related to the idols. I like the idols. I think they're cool. But I am not going to get into any conversation about what their genders might be, what race they might be. I'm not touching any of that stuff, okay? No. Here's my take. Everybody, and this is the same take I use with commentary, and every commentator needs to do this as well. Everybody is they, them until proven otherwise. Until the pronouns are slapped across your face, she, her, he, him, everybody's they, them. And I'm just not touching that, all right? You guys want to debate that they are, in fact, non-binary? Okay, that's for you. Let's move on. I do want to talk about some things that I think are really cool from the Direct, and some things that still need to be seen in order for us to figure out if this game is going to be the true Splatoon 2 killer that we're begging it to be. First off, Rainmaker Checkpoints. Hell yes. Oh my God, you could have just shown me that, and that was all I needed to see. Rainmaker Checkpoints. Okay, so they didn't even like talk about it. They just showed it. It was just part of like the background, and they were talking about something else. They were just showing some Rainmaker footage, and the person dunks the Rainmaker, and then they just hop off the pedestal and keep shooting. And my mind was like, whoa, what are you doing? The game's over. You dunked the Rainmaker. What's going on here? And it clicked to me. It was like, oh, there's checkpoints. And that's so cool, because I've talked about that a lot. I feel like there is a clip somewhere of me talking about that on the Popcast. Like, Rainmaker would be so much better if there were just like checkpoints where you could just dunk it and then pick it back up, pop it, repop it, and then take it somewhere else. So that, in theory, I think is going to fix a lot of issues with Rainmaker. Well, that brings up some more questions. Is it then at that point too similar to tower control? At this point, it's now just the same kind of checkpoints, but instead of just sitting on the tower and it moves, you grab the tower and you move the tower. And it's like, is that a little bit too similar to tower control right now? I don't know. I got to wait and play the game to find out. And you're going to hear me say that a lot today. I got to wait to play the game to find out. I'm excited that Rainmaker has something, though. The major issue with Rainmaker and competitive is that there's no checkpoints, there's no penalty points, there's nothing to reward the losing team for having a good push. If you are down by 2 checkpoints in tower control and you clear 1 checkpoint, even if you lose to control the tower, even if you don't get lead, that push still holds some value. In Rainmaker, if you're losing and you make a push and you don't get the lead back, that push you pulled off did nothing to waste time. You get no value out of that unless you were to like grab it and just keep going with it. So having checkpoints, meaning every push that doesn't get lead benefits you in some way, makes things a lot better. And those little stupid home run plays where it's, oh, you got wiped, game's over, even though you were the better team for 4 minutes and 55 seconds, that's gone. And that will help Rainmaker a lot. My question again, though, being, is this mode way too similar to tower control at this point to where it's kind of redundant? I'll have to wait to see and play the game myself. The Splatana, that looks awesome. I'm interested to try it out, just like every other new weapon in the game. Is it going to be something that is used a lot over time in competitive? I don't know. I'm going to have to wait and play the game to find out. But my assumption would be is that it is used a lot early on, and then kind of like dualies will eventually find its way out of the meta as we start getting a little bit more clear as what the meta should be or what patches dictate that the meta should be. So the Splatana is probably cool. I thought it was just a roller, but it's more of a squeegee kind of thing. But I don't know, like a true melee weapon. I mean, you could say Carbon is a melee weapon to some extent. And what makes Carbon so good, unless you're lost, you use the Deco version, which has burst bombs, so you can weaken them up a little bit. Soften up your opponent a little bit before you come in with the smack there. So melee weapons can be used and have been used. It's just, are they going to be something that is widely used outside of the few niche Genesis EVs of the world? Omega as well might still be using that thing for good morning. Good morning. It's still a cool weapon, though. And that's something I kind of wanted to see was more cool new weapons. What we just got the bow class. I'm sorry, that sounds too much like a weapon. The Stringer class and the Splatana thing, which again I thought was just part of the roller class. I would have liked to see more new classes of weapons, but there's still a lot of other stuff here that makes it worthwhile. No main power up as of right now. That doesn't mean it's going to show. I keep seeing these like things that I think are just fake accounts saying, oh, by the way, main power up is back in the game. So as far as I know, main power up is not actually in there, which is a great thing. That was kind of what did the dualies in, and a lot of weapons got done in because of the main power up. And what sucked about main power up is that it didn't add to the game. It took away from it. Main power up brought in the K Pro meta, which eventually led to the meta that we're in today of just long range, reign supreme. But then we switched it over to this paint stuff, and we don't really use main power up a lot now. Maybe Splash does. Actually, no, we do use the main power up a lot because it makes Splattershot kind of broken. But taking out main power up, at least for now, and I hope it stays out, is addition by subtraction, and is going to make at least the early game of Splatoon 3 feel like it should have felt this entire time. Now, Splatoon as a whole, as a series, has always been about one thing. Well, maybe 3 if you want to get more technical. But the one thing that makes Splatoon so unique to every other game out there, regardless of the console or platform that it's on, is the movement, right? Yeah, the painting feature obviously is what makes it unique, of course. And yes, specials aren't really specifically a Splatoon thing, but they are part of what makes Splatoon Splatoon, especially in Splatoon 2. But movement is what this game is all about. The person who has the better movement is usually the more flashy player and the player who usually is more effective in what they try to do. So the 2 movement features added to this game are going to be interesting and worthwhile to look at. The squid surge thing, I'm not totally convinced the squid surge thing is something that's going to be... I don't know. I got to wait and see. I'm saying that a lot, but I got to see what the application of the squid surge thing is. Maybe ProChar's got a video out explaining what the purpose of that thing is already, but from the few times I looked at it, it's just like, this... I still want to do like my cancel to get up on the ledge faster. I don't want to shoot up there like a dolphin. Unless there's some sort of an attack or something. I don't get the squid surge. What I do get is the squid roll. That looks like it has a lot of application, and people are saying it's going to replace substrafing. I'm not convinced that that's the case, but what I'm interested in is the parry technique that is introduced with this squid roll thing. And you're going to see a lot of cool moments on stream when we stream tournaments for Splatoon 3 of people doing the squid roll and just parrying charger shots with it. That's going to be some pretty hype stuff to see. And as people get a lot better with this squid rolling, we're going to see a lot more of that kind of feature being used. But I like the fact that they added more movement options to the game. As opposed to taking things away. I said it would suck if they took away like substrafing or shot strafe or whatever. But adding in something like squid roll and squid surge gives you more movement options, which can only enhance a game that is based off of movement. The specials, we'll cover that real quick. Again, I don't really see the application for most of these things. Wave Breaker... Toph was trying to convince me today that this is going to be an awesome special. I'm just not seeing it. It's countered by the A button where you just jump over it. Yeah, it works as like a giant point sensor, but why would that a special that does something a sub does in Splatoon 2 doesn't seem incredibly useful. I didn't think Echolocator was that great, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's helpful to know the exact position of all 4 players on the enemy team, but if you're playing in a competitive setting and your callouts are good enough, you kind of have a general sense of where everybody is anyways. Yeah, it helps finding those people that are sharking that you're painting up for. Where is this last player? But I'm not totally convinced that the Wave Breaker is going to be something that is going to be used in a positive way. And again, I'm willing to be proven wrong when the game comes out. I guess my biggest issue with the Wave Breaker thing is that it doesn't paint. Every other special except for armor, I think, paints to some extent. Stingray doesn't really... I mean, Stingray technically does paint, but that's not why you use it. But to use a whole special like Wave Breaker that doesn't paint unless it randomly kills somebody who can't jump is... I don't know. I'm just not convinced Wave Breaker is going to be crazy good at the start. Reef Sliders. So this is essentially the splashdown replacer. It seems like you're just more vulnerable with this thing, right? It seems like it combined baller with splashdown. No, actually, it's just the baller without the baller shield. That's what it is. Because I'm assuming you should be able to get shot while you're riding the little shark thing. You're just an open target. So you just go to one area and then explode like a baller would, except your path is directed and you can be shot while doing it. And there's no baller shield to go around you. So this thing's still going to be used, but I feel like it's going to be one of those specials like, oh, it's on Tetras. I really like Tetras as the main weapon, but there's no good kit. So I'm just going to suck it up and use this little shark riding thing. Oh, V Hydra exists. And for some reason, I don't want to use a special that helps my teammates. I'm going to use this special so that I can throw a chicken at somebody or for whatever. But Reef Slider, I don't think is going to be that good, at least initially looking at it. The thing that draws the most attention, and we got more information about it today, the Tacticooler. This thing will be the armor bot replacement, I think. If the stats I'm looking at today, I think it said you get a movement speed increase. It helps with the squid surge somehow and gives you a little bit of a quick respawn boost. So that's, a little bit of buffs. That's better than nothing, obviously. But it's not, I would assume it would have to have something like a little bit of extra health or like a little bit of armor that it gives you or a little bit more damage up for a short period of time or something like that. Just going to get the juice for movement speed and a little bit of quick respawn seems pretty risky for how you have to distribute this thing. Keep in mind with armor, and I'm glad this is gone. A lot of people, when they use armor and missiles, to be fair, will just go off away from the action, not play the game, build up a special, and then use it to support people who are actually playing the game. And I know I got an armor bot on my team, so that sounds mean for me to say, but let's just call it what it is. It's taking yourself away from the action and using a special that instantly helps everybody. But now you can't do that with this Tacticooler thing. You can build up your special away from the action, yeah, but if you actually want your teammates to take advantage of it, you got to get closer to your teammates or find a way to throw the little refrigerator or whatever in an area where everybody can get it. And that makes it more of a sitting duck kind of thing, and it seems like it's going to be a special that's really hard to use when you are in just like the middle of combat. It seems like something that's going to be beneficial when you have the man advantage and the other team is retreating, or when you just got wiped and you are the last player left alive and you got that special ready and you jump back to spawn, and then you can just go in, push with your teammates, and everybody gets a sip of the juice right before you go in. So that's got some good tactical advantages to it. I'm just not crazy convinced that it's going to be something people are going to be able to pick up. Like, you can't just pop armor and your solo queue teammates all have it at the same time. That's not how it's going to work. You're going to have to throw it and hope your solo queue teammates are wake enough to realize, oh, there's a refrigerator behind me. Let me go get a soda pop real quick. So that's it's going to require a lot more thought. You have to put a lot more thought. It's not a brain dead special. And that's what I like about the Tacticooler thing. And that's why I hope it has more benefits other than just movement. Again, I just talked about movement is what makes this game so unique. But if it gives you a little bit more perks for going out of your way to get you some juice, then I feel like it's going to be rewarded for the extra effort that you have to put in to go get the juice, and especially during the heat of the battle. Again, I like the idea of this a lot better than just, oh, I'm off and useless. Here's some armor slayer who's winning the game for us. I'll be back there in about 30 seconds when I trek across the map there. So it's going to force people to be more engaged, and that's going to be difficult for a lot of casuals to be effective with that. But I feel like the competitive players are going to use the juice mechanic in a clever way, and it'll be cool to see. I just think it needs a little bit more than just movement, though, in quick respawn. Now, it's all speculation, right? It's all speculation how this game is going to work, what the meta is going to be. We don't know what the meta of this game is going to be until Starburst shows us what it's going to be, right? Because that's how it works. It's not going to be us, you guys in chat. They're going to figure out what the meta is. It's the team at the top that's going to set the tone, and everybody's just going to copy them. That's how it works. That's how it always has worked and always will work, is that the meta comes from the people who are at the best, and you just try to emulate that to some extent. Even though Starburst does things that are off meta to some extent, that's how we're going to know what we got to do to win at this game. And it's going to take a long time to kind of sort through all the specials and all the new weapons and stuff, all the new abilities to figure out what the optimal way to win this game is going to be. And there's going to be a lot of experimentation that goes in with that. But eventually we will come down to a meta. And here's what I'm going to do a better job of this time around. I'm going to be keeping an eye out on Twitter. Oh, God, I'm already making a mistake. But every time there is a meta, from the beginning of the game to where we are now, people do nothing but complain about it. Until a new meta shows up. How many of you have said this phrase? Oh, the ballpoint meta was so awesome. I wish we could go back to that. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't like the ballpoint meta. Every one of you and your mom, including ballpoint players, complained about the ballpoint meta because it was bad. But a new one shows its head around, revisionist history. Oh, the ballpoint meta was so awesome. Oh, I love it when K-Pro was just erasing people left and right. Man, those were the good old days. No, it wasn't. We're going to do the same thing. People are going to figure out what the meta for Splatoon 3 is, and you guys are going to complain about it until the new one, and you'll be like, man, I can't wait till we go back to the Splatana era when you could just win a tournament using quad Splatana. That was so awesome. Was it now? Was it now? Okay. But the real benefit here from the Direct is the quality of life things. I tweeted about this. It just needed to add quality of life to Splatoon 2, and good golly, Miss Molly did it do that. So many little features that all of us have been saying on Twitter and in conversations with our friends probably about, man, if they just added this one thing or this, if they just added this little feature right here, that would just help so much with this game. They did. They added a ton of stuff. Being able to use the training room while you're waiting. Oh, that's so genius. No, I don't want to play the little squid jump game on the Wii U. I don't want to just sit here and make the little music thing. Yeah, okay, great. I can make it go. That's fun, I guess. That's a lot of fun. No, let me actually do something. Let me just get myself warmed up. And now you don't have to wait. Oh, wait, our fourth is on the way. They're just getting out of the training room. No, the fourth is in the lobby and the training room at the same time. Whoa, that is awesome. That is a really awesome thing. And, I'm not crazy excited about being in the warm-up lobby with my teammates because they are just going to go out of their way to annoy me. But so be it. That's the price I pay for playing with teenagers who carry me all day long. Recon mode at any time. Why was this not always a thing? You can only do recon mode for 5 minutes at a time of the maps that are in rotation right now. In this game, you could do it for an hour at a time. Who recons for more than an hour? And who goes, man, I wish this game would let me recon for an hour and a half. But you can do any map at any time in recon mode. Yes! That is a nice thing. Being able to recreate or swap out the main ability on clothes instead of just having to hope that the clothes that you want are on Splatnet with the ability that you want or having to trade with somebody else. No, just let me get the clothes I think look cool and put the abilities I want on there. Yes. Yes, they did that. Be able to, all of you, the X-Rank players, get to be put in S+ right at the start of the game and get a couple of tickets to where you can unlock some weapons early. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. It's like I can't believe it. It's like Nintendo actually pays attention to the things we say. That's not good for me. I haven't said the nicest things about them in like ever. But still, it seems like they actually paid attention to some of the things we were saying. Like the little things we were saying that would be so nice for this game. And the biggest one of all, the biggest hell yeah that I got to go with here, VOD reviewing. You can save the VOD of your games and upload them. Upload them to what? I don't know. There's still a lot that needs to be seen into this one. But to be able to just look at the VOD of a game that you played and share it with somebody. I hope it's shareable. But to share it with other people, that is awesome. And we are going to find ways to abuse it for the wrong way. A lot of people are just going to use it to point out how bad their solo queue teammates are in just a preemptive screw you, bro. For every time you post something like that, you're not helping anything. How about you post some of the clips of you sucking now that you have footage of you sucking all the time? for every clip that you post of your teammates sucking, there's one, or if not 10, that you have of you doing the same exact thing. So make sure you be a little bit fair when you post things like that. But still, being able, like people were saying, or people who want more tournaments to be saved because they're not on stream all the time. Technically, every single match is on stream now. In Splatoon 3, technically every single match could be put up on stream. Just upload it and stream it later. And here's the thing I would love to do. I like to I like to watch this guy named Falcon Paladin, who does not VOD reviews, but does commentary of old StarCraft VODs on his channel like 4 times a week. I would love to do that. I would love to get some VODs of some low ink sets and just play them on my stream or YouTube or whatever, and just commentate them like they're actual things that I'm watching live for the first time. That would be awesome. And now anybody can do something like that because you don't need a capture card to do a VOD review and go to some shady third-party website where everybody, well, I guess you can just do it on Discord now, honestly. But this is just such a little thing that goes a long way to improving the value of the product. And all these things were just on people's wish lists, and they got put into the game. And that's awesome. And that's honestly just so awesome that these things are here. That's all I needed. Oh. Lastly, I'm excited for the Splatfest test fire. Rip Shine again, bro. I mean, it's like Shine was already buried, and they keep finding new ways. Nintendo keep finding new ways to just kind of kick them. Hey, if you're going to Shine, you're still playing Splatoon 2, by the way, and everybody else is going to be playing Splatoon 3 at the same time. Now, Shine has said that they're going to have stations set up to where you can play Splatfest at Shine, but doesn't that defeat the purpose of going to a LAN to play a different video game that isn't even out yet, while you're currently playing the second one? And I'm not discrediting anybody for doing that. That's probably what most people want to do, is play the Splatfest as opposed to playing the actual tournament. But it's just another kind of like, man, I really hope people who are running Shine do it again next year, because Nintendo has gone out of their way to create so many different situations for you to not want to go to Shine, and that sucks. Shine's going to be really great next year, guys. Please do it again. It's not even, it could be still be really great this year. But still, that aside, I love Splatfest. I love them because they got so many cool ideas. There were cool ideas in the last game when they switched over to the clout system and they added like ranked turf war. Like, ranked turf war was awesome. Yeah, it still sucks that you can't KO people, but just turf war where you know everybody in the lobby is going to be taking it seriously, and there's no, squid party's happening here, and if I actually try hard, my teammates are going to throw against me in this kind of way. Like, competitive turf war is awesome. Ranked turf war is awesome. So to be able to get Splatfest back with this new feature of this being this like 3-team battle going on there, that seems really cool. And it just sucks that there's so many cool concepts that they show in Splatfest that you only get to play one weekend out of a month for a couple of years, and then it's just gone forever. Like, there are people, nobody can experience Splatfest, like true Splatfest in Splatoon 2 ever. Like, I can play any kind of ranked mode. I can do a salmon run. I can do all those features in the game. I can't do Splatfest ever again in Splatoon 2. I can't, unless I'm like Reddit and I just manufacture a Splatfest out of thin air. It's like, that's a core concept of the game that you can only do a handful of times. It's really fun too. So I'm excited that it is Splatfest that's going to be a test fire. And I hope there's some way to where like some of the things from Splatfest can trickle over to consistent, not like this team versus that team, but just ranked turf war or 2v2v4 turf war. Like, that's fun ideas, at least. And I'm excited to see them work out. And it's going to be using Splatfest as a test fire, Using Splatfest as a test fire, I think, is a really smart thing. It's really good to just show the casuals, hey, here's the giant event right in your stupid little faces right off the bat. This is what you're going to get. And that's perfect. And I think it's a great way. And I guess it's not really a test fire. It's just more of like a preview. I don't think they're really using, they might be using this as like a calibration for their servers or something like that. But that's for people who are more tech savvy than I am. It's, now, my overall experience or my overall thoughts on the Direct. Your experience in anything that you experience in life is based off of expectations versus reality. If you're going to a hockey game, a professional hockey game, and your expectation is that you're going to be bored out of your mind, it's going to suck, everything's going to be overpriced, and you go there, and the food is cheap, the crowd is really into it, and the game is exciting, you are going to leave with a huge positive experience. On the flip side, if you go into that hockey game expecting it to be the most incredible thing you've ever seen in your life, and it just kind of falls short of that, you're going to be walking away being like, man, that sucked. That was horrible. That was a complete waste of time. So everybody can look at the same exact thing, come out with different takes on it, and it's all based on where your bar of expectation is. With what we've seen, and this might be the biggest credit to Nintendo, is that they've shown us so many stupid things leading up to this that my bar was set so low that they could have just talked about anything and I would have been impressed at that point. But no, they went way above the low bar that I set, and this is just coming to cost as a backhanded compliment. Sorry, Nintendo. Apparently, I know you're watching and listening now. Thank you. But I can at least say that I was pleasantly surprised with how awesome this Direct was. I'm excited about the game. I hope the casual crowd is excited about this as well, because they make up 99% of this community that we're in. Not the competitive community, but the Splatoon community as a whole. Is that going to cause the revitalization that we're hoping to see in this scene? I don't know. It's, you know, are we going to see the 700 teams that we saw in the Nintendo tournament a couple of years ago? Are we going to have over 128 teams in Low Inc with 4 Swiss groups like we did a couple of Januaries ago? Well, let's just wait and see. And the good news is we ain't got to wait that long, do we? Just a few more weeks and all these answers will be revealed to us at Riptide. And I'll tell you this right now. If any of you think you could hold a candle to me with that little card Turf War Tetris thing, just don't even bother. Somebody suggested we do a Turf War Tetris tournament. There'd be no point. I'd win every single one. None of you would even come close. So don't even bother. None of you can touch me. A few highlighted messages, Mr. Rookie. As much as I enjoy the music, it would be nice to have that kind of feature, as audio cues can get overwhelming to me. Yes. Or like to just be able to, you know, people were talking about content creation, not just for the competitive wise, but just be able to play whatever music you want on your stream while still having the sound effects available is obviously a nice feature. But yeah, it's just a simple thing. Like, just turn off the music. I don't know why they force you to listen to it if you want to hear the audio. What man says, what team are you going to join in the Splatfest? My team's gonna do rock. And I kind of mentioned this before. I'm going to try to play with some randos on Reddit that I've never met before to see if I can meet some new people. A lot of the people I hung out with on the cabin trip this last week, I met on Reddit. Technically everybody, since that's how I got involved in the scene, is through Reddit. So I'd like to try to meet some new people I've never met before. And then they can be amazed when they find out who I really am. Wow, you're that old and you talk about this game on a weekly basis? That's awesome, man. You clap me? Bruh, stop. You don't want this smoke. Speaking of other teams that don't want this smoke, let's talk about some teams that popped off in some other tournaments this weekend. It is now time for the weekly recap. SOS number 78 took place this last Wednesday, and finally, somebody slayed gas prices. They took their first L in a tournament that I think I've ever seen them play in. And the team that beat them was Dream. It took Power Zero, the king themselves, Keo and Terra, to take down gas prices and prevent them from winning their first tournament in about 7 or 8 tournaments they played in now. So there you go. Gas prices, they bleed just like us. It just takes some of the best players this game has ever seen to beat them. Beat them 4-1 in grand finals. Micklin Hero took third. Hammerhead was won by Perry Vergu. Moving on, Mako Bracket was won by Heaven's Moonlight, and Lantern Bracket was won by Caffeine Craze. The 79th edition of SOS is going to be taking place on Friday. And several people have pointed out, if SOS changed their format, more people would be playing in SOS. SOS has gone over their cap limit of teams that they can have sign up for their tournament for the entire summer. They've gone over 32 teams the entire summer. Why don't they just increase the cap? Because they want to go to bed at some point, and I think you guys want to go to bed at some point too. 32 teams is kind of where it needs to be, but SOS seems to be going just fine, even though people say they'll never play in it. Okay. SIC number 4 was won by Unlucky over Azult. Farto took 3rd place. Destiny Troops took 4th place. Doggone it. Center, so that leaves the end of this whole tournament series, or well, that's the final qualifier. So we know who our top 8 teams are, and even though Unlucky won this tournament, they are not in the top 8. They didn't do good enough in the other 3 tournaments, or didn't play in enough tournaments like my team did, to where they could just naturally accrue enough points they would need it to make top 8. But there you go. Now, should there be some sort of rule to where if you win a tournament, you automatically make the final tournament? I don't know. SAC's not my tournament, so I tried to not like get my hands on other tournaments. I like playing in it, and that's all I really kind of focus on. But it reminds you of a couple seasons ago when Rising Matrix came in the 4th tournament and just spanked everybody left and right. And because that was the only tournament they played in, they didn't have enough points to make Final 8 or whatever. And it's like, oh, thank gosh, these guys are not here. But Unlucky, they win the tournament, and congrats on winning the qualifier. But you'll have to wait till the next season to make top 8. The teams that made top 8 in this order: Synergy, Farto, 64, Liar, Azult, Cascade Duck Crew, Unlimited Women United, and Helix, or Helixio, rounding out your top 8 there. If I had to pick a team that is going to win this tournament, the Final 8 tournament, I think it's the 2nd seed Farto that should be the favorite going into this one, considering that they won 2 qualifiers. 2 of the 3 qualifiers that they signed up for. Cascade Duck Crew won 1, and the other team that won 1, Unlucky, isn't here. So the only team that actually knocked down Farto was Unlucky, and they didn't even make top 8. So, not saying that Farto is untouchable, but if I had to pick a favorite of these 8 teams, and all 8 of them, in all honesty, all 8 of them can find a way to win. Azult played really well. They got 2nd place in the last tournament. The Ducks have won 1. Helix has a lot of potential. If we just get Carrot back off of vacation, and we can just get that team kind of rolling, they're capable of beating everybody here. Unlimited Women United, they're jank enough to piss off somebody and get a win there. And obviously Synergy is finished in the top 3 of 3 tournaments. So this is a strong top 8, but I will give the nod to Farto as of now as the official Popcat favorite to win that one. Looking at Super Jump number 27. This was won by gas prices. Oh, well, They can't win them all, but they can just bounce back and win the next one again. So gas prices won this one. This time they beat Newport Cigarettes. All right. Fair enough. Trap finished in third place. Yeah, I looked back over the VOD there, and yeah, eventually there was triple K-Gal that was used at one point. Yes. Yes, that did happen. And now, look, here's the point. Is there any asterisks here? Is there any, use triple K-Gal, so yeah, you win the tournament, but that means you don't get credit for winning the tournament? No, your goal to sign up for a tournament is to win it. If triple K-Gal is what gets you the dub, then so be it. And yes, we're talking about Squid Junction, not Super Jump. Is that what I called it? Those SJs gets kind of trippy there. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by the Indiana State Fair Turkey Legs. If you want an $18 turkey leg fresh off of a giant-ass grill wrapped in tinfoil and is probably the only thing you could eat for the entire day, I highly recommend it. It doesn't taste like turkey at all. It tastes kind of like ham, actually. But there you go. It's kind of hilarious to just eat a giant turkey leg like your Fred Flintstone in front of your friends so they can take pictures of it, and Amber can make a hilarious drawing of it. So there you go. The Indiana State Fair $18 turkey leg, the official sponsor of this week's episode of the Weekly Recap. Sure. Yeah, I'll probably switch it up. I would like to do a Splatoon 1 now or never during the weekly recap, but I haven't found a video on YouTube that kind of cuts at the right times that I like it to cut to where it seems natural. All right, that's enough of the boring stuff. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this tournament. Oh boy. Little Squid League 23, the final Little Squid League tournament of Splatoon 2, and it went out with a bang. Oh boy. So a few things to talk about first. This, of course, is the last tournament of Little Squid League before Splatoon 2. And somebody DM'd me today saying like, "Hey, I got this friend who's in S+. What would you recommend? What tournament would you recommend for them?" And I said the only thing that they really have is Little Squid League. And that's where they need to be. I think a lot of people think as low ink as the starting point for competitive Splatoon. It's not. It's the biggest tournament in low level for sure. It's the final boss of low level, if you want to consider it that. But the true starting point is Little Squid League. And hopefully as we see this surge of people that we're kind of expecting come in for Splatoon 3, that we kind of push them to Little Squid League. Not first, you can play in both tournaments, and the teams that play in Little Squid League or low ink usually get a little bit better as their way going into the Little Squid League. But yeah, when we get teams that sign up for low ink and that's their first tournament ever, and they go 0-6 and 1-5, we try to do, as staff, we try to be like, come back next month, but look at what's going on over here. This is a good place for you to be. Grind out this tournament for a little bit. It'll help you get better for the next low ink. The stream, I saw that the stream didn't happen until Top Cut. I guess they just didn't have the manpower to do it during the Swiss stage. And SIC did that. I think SIC number 3 did that same thing. There's been some SOS tournaments that have had to do something like that before. It's just a kind of a sign of the times. It's hard to get quality commentators, quality streamers, that are available every single time that you want to do a tournament. It's not just an LSL thing. It's across the board kind of thing. It's hard to get good talent. And people are always talking about, what if we did like this help desk in between sets so that you don't just sit there and listen to music the whole time? Or what if you add this new feature to streams and it's like, yeah, we would love to do stuff like that. The problem is the manpower just ain't there, if we're being honest. Minnow Cup as well. Yeah, like every single, Dapple Productions for sure. It's not just the one tournament thing that's struggling with this. It's across the board, just an issue with commentary and production stuff as well. And yeah, when there's multiple tournaments going on, which is a good thing, and what is, that's just the world that we live in. There's going to be multiple tournaments going on, SAC and LSL going on at the same time. In fact, I didn't watch LSL live because I was playing in SAC, and boy, did I miss something. I missed something. To be fair, I've gotten in a good rhythm of writing these Popcast episodes. And yeah, I spent a lot of time writing these things. I only do them on Mondays. Like, I write out things in my head throughout the course of the week, but I don't put pen to paper until Monday. And it's usually like the last hour when I'll look at a tournament like Little Squid League. So I was looking at this like 30 minutes before I went live. And the more I looked into it and more I watched back over the VOD, I was like, okay, I missed some stuff here. So we'll get into some stuff here. But first we're going to walk through, like we always do, the groups. We like to give attention to everybody that we can. So let's slide on over and look at the groups here. We only got 6. There are one more team signed up for this one than the Little Squid League 22. They're not going down quietly into the night, as we're seeing less teams sign up in every tournament as this scene is slowly transitioning here. First off, Group A went perfectly scripted, as it was supposed to. Walk was the number 1 overall seed. Cake was like 12, and the Pins were 13. So Walk 3-0'd these two teams, and Cake was technically the higher seed. They beat Glitter Gel Pins, but only by 2-1. That is literally as perfect as you could make a Group B, especially with only 3 teams. So not much to say about this other than Cake. We'll get back to them in a second. Several seconds from here. But keep in mind, Cake took a loss right here. Group B, same thing, pretty much. Everything went as scripted. Splat-A-Lot Gambit, the team that finished in second place last month, the clear, solid number 2 team here, was able to beat Oofish, who we will talk about again in a second, or several seconds from now. Again, 1L on Oofish. Something to keep in mind. I see you International, though. Fell down the silver bracket. Group C. The main story here is skill issue. Remember that one team that tried to change their name in the middle of Low Inc? That was skill issue. And I was so caught off guard by it, I completely forgot what their name used to be. But it was like they were like under another team. It wasn't like a Splat-A-Lot situation, but there were like a couple of teams that had this name. But whatever they are, their skill issue now, which was the name of that the Latin American team from a couple of SAC seasons ago. But here they are going 2-1. Sunken Scrolls, thank you. Yeah, there was Sunken Scrolls, and then there was like Sunken Scrolls 1 or something like that. But they seem to have turned the corner here, beating Inkception, SBF 28. And I believe taking the Inkception was the number 1 seed in this one, and they were able to steal the spot from them. So skill issue, a bit of a glow up here, and they seem to have turned the corner. Nicely done. Competitive Calamari Party, though, takes this group 3-0. Group D, Hook, Line, and Sinker is the team that took 3rd place last month, and they fell into a circle of suck that somehow worked into their favor. Sparkling Sea being the other team that was able to find their way out of this group at 2-1. Bamboo Dragons, man, just having another tough situation here. You're just wondering, when are they going to turn the corner? But whenever there's this kind of circle of suck situation here, it's usually all 4 teams that are very competitive with each other in this group. Group E highlights Boston Squid Party, which I learned from the Splat a Little podcast, I believe is from Europe. Why, or at least most of their members are from Europe or something, which makes sense. You only see them play in like the Saturday primetime slots where it's international. But why would an EU team name themselves Boston Squid Party? If they're from the United Kingdom or England, the Boston Tea Party is like the flashpoint of you losing America forever. But that seems a bit doesn't seem like a positive thing to name yourselves after, but so be it. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But there you go. What they finished? They finished number 4 in the last tournament, I believe, able to take care of business in this group. Rise and Shine was rated pretty high, seeded pretty high, but they ended up dropping. Is the drop parentheses is right here. Group F, this disqualified thing. We'll talk briefly about this in a moment. But you can see while they did play, they went 3-0. But Splat-A-Lot Imbeciles, my favorite Splat-A-Lot team name, because now they don't just go by the alphabets. They've added a little extra name into whatever their alphabet letter is. The Imbeciles is the best Splat-A-Lot team name by far. And I'm happy to see they're able to find a way to get up here. Territorial Water Otters taking the game or a whole set away from Marine Melody. They're starting to take a little bit of step up themselves. I see you. Looking briefly at the silver bracket. Not a lot to say here because I don't really know a whole heck a lot about these teams. Sparkling Sea is the team that won this one in a game 7. Looks like a close, tight set. And this is counterpicked too, right? Yes. Okay, so even Grands of Silver counts as counterpicks. But Sparkling Sea, if you were wondering who they were, I vaguely remembered, but due to the beauty of Battlefy, you can just look up some information. The last time Sparkling Sea played in Little Squid League, it was Little Squid League 15, so 8 tournaments ago. And that's not 8, that's basically a year ago. Where they lost to Oofish in Silver Bracket Round 2. So what a difference a year makes. Now they're winning Silver Bracket. It's Hydra Glitter Gel Pins, the team that finished, they finished in second place last time, winning third place here over Inkception. And Inkception, this is the team that went by Hotel Popgun that one time and made Gamma Bracket. So Inkception probably, they weren't seeded to finish in silver, but they were able to make a little bit of a name for themselves and just couldn't, for whatever reason, get the win in Game 7 against Sparkling Sea. But this is still again, you fall to a bracket you probably don't want to be in. You flex and proved you shouldn't be there. Even though they don't win this tournament, I feel like Inkception flexes here. And maybe they learned something from these close wins along the way that they can build off of. That's the whole point of silver bracket. And maybe Sparkling Sea, we'll see them a year from now. So let's talk about gold bracket. Because as I looked at it, I was like, what the heck is this going on here? So I know what happened, and it's basically just a roster issue. And I'm not going to get into it because A, it's not my tournament. And B, if something like this were to happen in low ink, if it has happened in low ink, something like this has happened in low ink, the last thing I want is people bugging me about it. So I'm just going to leave it as it shows right here. This team was disqualified for legit reasons. And it's weird. It's a weird situation because this match right here was on stream and Cake lost. They got swept 3-0. And the commentators are put in this awkward spot of they realize something's going on, but they have to talk through it. So what they ended up doing was just started talking about the Splatoon Direct. And this is my worst nightmare as a low ink TO, is that something like this just happens during the tournament. Because it did. I was commentating with Magic March of last year during the incident when a team just decided that they were just done playing and they just left in the middle of the game and the tournament just ended right there. And we brought back in Red Sun, and that created this ultimate unforgettable set that was the match of the year, the official Popcast match of the year last year. So Cake coming back after getting swept out of the tournament, found out they're still in this tournament, and all of a sudden we get this, oh my gosh, incredible best of 7 set that if you have not seen yet, You need to go back and watch the VOD of this one, because this is not just like a match of the year nominee. I'm going to find a way to get this one in the top 3. This is up there with Access Denied and Lois. It was that good. Splat-A-Lot A and Miata, the losers finals from last Low Inc. This one's a barn burner for sure. And just to give you some context, Oofish Cake wins the first 2, and this is all counterpick. Cake wins the first 2. Oofish wins the next 3. Cake wins game 6 to tie it up. So like momentum gets stolen back and forth, and not back and forth. Like momentum gets stolen like a couple of times, and just like was wrestled back. And when a team wrestled it, they held on to it for so long and just kept racking up wins. Usually in a set like this, you just see it kind of ping pong, 1-0, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2. But no, it was just both teams went on huge runs. And that game 7, oh my gosh, you don't want to get caught up in the moment, and it annoys me like nothing else when a commentator will be like, "This is the best thing I've ever seen in competitive Splatoon," and it's like, bruh, it's round 2 of Swiss. What the hell are you talking about? And I'm probably guilty of that at times as well. I just hate hyperbole and being prisoners of the moment. But that game 7, let me just say this game 7 was really good. The game 7 was just absolutely incredible. Clan Blitz at Piranha Pit, which is a controversial map. A lot of people just don't like this map for competitive because it's a Rainmaker Clan Blitz game. It really is. It's just at any point, any team can win. If you don't KO the opponent and it's like you got 2 remaining and they got 100, it's basically a tie ball game. It really is. But I watched the VOD of this back. I still don't see how Cake wins this one. Like, there were so many times where I'm just watching the end of that game where I'm like, they screwed up. Oofish won this. They reported the score wrong. There's no way Cake wins this. Like, it got to overtime, and Cake is pushing, and Oofish got the first splat, and you see Cake find a way to like slip through and to throw the power clam. It gets blocked by the little box right there next to the basket, and it falls all the way down to useless. So they have to wipe the enemy team, go down to pick up the power clam, and throw it into the basket. I swear, somebody has to count the frames. There's no way. This is the exact opposite of the lowest access denied situation. Remember Saucy Boy throwing the clam at the basket and it's just 2 frames too late? This is like you woke up from the nightmare. Cake got it in like a few seconds left to go. Sorry, Saucy Boy. But Cake did it. They got the clam into the basket with just a handful of seconds to go, and they win the game. And it's so amazing. You saw the nerves. You literally could see the players' hands shaking as it came down to crunch time in game 7 when they just threw the power clam off the wall and still recovered from it. It's so incredible. And I love seeing that stuff. I love competition in all forms of life. And you love it when it means something. And when you can tell just by how the squids are moving that it means something to all 8 players in the lobby. I love that kind of stuff. I absolutely love it. So hats off to Cake for bouncing back from being eliminated from the tournament technically and putting on a hell of a performance. And hats off to Oofish, who finally got the grand finals. We've been waiting for Oofish to get the grand finals for so long, and they finally did it, and they didn't disappoint. And man, just a few seconds away, and they're banned from Little Squid League. That's the best grand final. Okay, I'll prisoner moment. I'll say it. That's the best grand finals I've seen out of Little Squid League, straight up. And there's been some really good ones over the course of the years, and that's a pretty good one to end on. We'll just go with that. Oh. So I'm excited. Again, I hope that tournament explodes in Splatoon 3. I hope people start pushing new players to that tournament. And, but we'll enjoy it from there. That was an instant classic, man. I'm going to go watch it again. Just that last few seconds. I still can't believe Cake wins that one. If you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, you want to send me some information about your team, you want to sign up for Low Ink, you want to, I don't know, tell me something about you for the Low Ink preview I'm going to do Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Feel free to reach out to me at my socials below. Twitter, Mr._Popgun, Discord, Popgun, hashtag 5882, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun, TikTok, Mr._Popgun, that's still a thing, ain't it? Who are we going to raid? By the way, Blue. Let's do that. I will see you guys Friday. Make sure you sign up for Low Ink. Make sure you don't do anything stupid between now and then. Wear a mask. Stay out of trouble. Pre-order the game. I don't know. Let's do whatever you guys have been doing. It can't be that bad. You've lived this long.